Hi friends, I'm Ashley and welcome to Darling Cottage Diary. Today we're going to be extending our spooky garden, secret garden. If you saw that episode, I'll link it below if you missed it. It was the one I did 2 weeks ago. And I don't know, I was kind of inspired to make this into a series. So I don't know how many proverbial rooms I'll be making, but it will be at least 2 more after this one because that's what I have ideas for. So I'm really excited to see this whole series of pages come together and then all be connected in some way. So right here, I'm just measuring the window because I wanted to cover up the kind of ugly area around the window on the other side of the page. And I was going to do a whole lot of math, and then I realized I had another sticker that was about the same size as the window, and I decided to not do all of the math. So this was much easier, and it will kind of create this border, this continuous border, so we can still see through the window, but it will have its own little flavor and flair. Now, as I talked about in the first episode, the story I had in my mind about these series of pages, it's like this kind of spooky estate that you've been invited to, maybe for a dinner or a ball or something, maybe in the 20s and 30s, because some of the paper, which was from Michael's, it's one of their fall paper packs, and it has that kind of like early 1900s, maybe early 20s feel to it. And then it also had lots of spooky background stuff. This forest paper was by far my favorite page. The whole reason I bought the pack of paper, the rest of them are pretty, but this one in particular I knew I wanted to do a lot of stuff with, obviously. So I'm just going to be adding a little bit of texture with, at this point I think it's some kind of signature thing that I do because I love it so much. I realize I do it quite often, but using wall spackle as a kind of layer of texture, I just really love the depth that it brings. And I'm using calligraphy ink from Ferris Wheel Press to dye it. Usually I'll lay the texture down and then go over it with the ink because it tends to be darker, but with this in particular, because it's going to be showing through a little bit through the window, I wanted it to be colored on the back too. So that's why I dyed it initially. I dyed all of it. And I wanted to do this around the window because you could still see it. My cutting skills are not exact, and I didn't want to be able to see so obviously the edges of the page. And I also had the thought of, in the Secret Garden or in other kind of Victorian or Regency video, or, movies, there's like the stone walls and the stone windows and that kind of thing. And that is obviously something romanticized in my very American brain. We don't really have that kind of stuff where I live, but I saw a lot of that when I lived in France, and it was something that I found so charming that I think is just very normal to people who live in places, very old places, and have a lot of things made out of stone. Most things in my country are made out of concrete or wood, so it was just something really charming I loved, and I wanted to bring that into this window of like looking out to the garden and then looking out to the forest. So maybe this is a window of the garden, kind of like a little hole in the wall, and we're looking through into this forbidden forest where we shouldn't venture because maybe there's something sinister out there. I don't know why I love doing this so much. Maybe it's because my favorite food is buttered toast, and it's satisfying because it's like buttered toast. But anyway, so the PET tape I'm showing is from the Washi Tape shop, and it's so beautiful. Yeah, that was totally not me hitting the camera because I was burning my hand watching the viewfinder and what was, going on in my camera rather than paying attention to the open flame I was accidentally holding my hand over. So there are some dangers to journal vlogging if you ever wanted to get into it. So with these, I wanted a big kind of like skinny long line of them to cover up not only the crookedness of the background paper, but also to bring some cohesiveness from the same type of flowers from this. It was just a different part of the PET tape on the window page. They're kind of growing below the window. And this way there's some continuity, and it also helps hide my bad gluing job. I also had the idea of wanting some vines growing up the side of the stone wall, kind of around the window. So this is some wool thread that I incidentally bought at a cute shop in Salem, Massachusetts when I went on a bachelorette weekend with some girlfriends a few years ago. I think it was called Circle of Stitches. And if you've ever been there, absolutely everything has like a touch of witchiness to it, obviously, if you know anything about American history. And but she had the owner of the shop had some really, really beautiful options for all kinds of fiber arts, but she particularly had a local wool dyer for needle felting or spinning. That was really beautiful. And then she had all of this wool embroidery thread, and which obviously I guess that could be used for stitching together wool garments as well. I am not that talented. As much as I love the idea of knitting and crocheting, my hands can't get the tension. I'm a little bit better at knitting because a crochet, I'll get going and it just tapers off so tightly. I tried to make a scarf one time, tapered off so tightly that it was just this weird, awkward triangle. The sticks in the knitting at least force you to control your tension. So if y'all are crocheters and y'all have any recommendations on how to keep your tension, please let me know in the comments, because it is something it's like the one fiber art I have not been able to not master, but get into and actually do it, rather, just practice it, because I can't control the hook. Anyway, so I really like using recycled book pages whenever I'm using a little stamp cutter for any little pieces, because I feel like it's in a journal, it's in a book, it's recycling paper, it's already pretty aged, and it has a pretty texture, and there's just something so romantic to me about typeface. Maybe it's because I'm an academic, maybe it's because I have piles of books all over my house. I'm not sure, but I would rather use book pages as a kind of blank medium than plain paper, because I like how it adds a little something to it. This is a little sterling silver antique pillbox, I think. I love the aesthetic of old sewing machines, like the antique early 1900s ones. I would display one in my house if I could find the exact one, even if it didn't work. Ideally, I would fix it, or I would want it to work, but that's definitely an antique that I would like to pay homage to and keep for future generations. I'll also probably go back and add some more leaves to this ivy vine. I was running out of daylight. And these little frames, I had 4 different sizes that went out with the September Ephemera Club. If you don't know what Ephemera Club is, it's the primary way people support me outside of buying things in my shop, or commenting and liking and subscribing. All help in the long term support me, but Ephemera Club is my most consistent way that I'm able to keep making videos for everybody. And as a thank you, at the $3 tier, you get digital ephemera that you can print out as many times as you want using your journals, and the $20 tier, I send handmade and real vintage ephemera to you every month, and you get to vote on themes, and we have a Discord server and everything else, so it's a lot of fun. That key, I really wanted it to kind of look like it was hanging by the door or the window to go into the Forbidden Forest as the safety measure, because people have disappeared out there or something, and so I wanted it to be hanging on this like framed little hook, and with maybe a warning or something on it that, you know, you should only go out there if you have experience out there, kind of thing. And I'm very excited about the new shinies that I've finally come in to make, new walnuts and confetti pouches. I will have a limited edition spooky pouch, like fall pouch, as well as Halloween mixture. Some of the mixture came in a little bit bigger than I thought the pieces were, so some of it might not be in the walnuts, or they will be strictly in the little pouches, but I am excited. A lot of them are fall and spooky themed, so excited to show y'all that. And I also wanted to take this time to thank my patrons who are supporting me this month: Abigail, Kathleen, Joanna, Florence, Rebecca, Sasha, Patsy, Teresa, Effie, Kim, Emily, Carly, Carrie, Sherry, Leprechaun Mom, Crystal, Tracy, Britt, Rebecca, Alicia, Kaija, Kenna, Rachel, Denise, W, Jennifer, Ariel, and Rasha. So really appreciate you guys. Keep me going. And I'm super excited to show what came next week. I'm using all our library themed stuff from Ephemera Club this month in next week's episode, because we're going to be moving into the library of this haunted, spooky estate to continue on with our series, our theme series here. So anyway, I hope you guys love it, and I can't wait to see y'all's pages in the Discord server. I know I'm super quiet on there. It is definitely, I like just watching to see what you guys come up with. I feel like with my channels and stuff, y'all see the kind of stuff I make all the time, and I like just being an observer in there. But y'all are really inspiring, and I love getting in there and seeing what y'all make when I have a rough day or something. It's definitely a happy place, so thank y'all for making it such a wonderful place. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time, an excerpt from it, of Sarah Williams' poetry collection, Twilight Hours, A Legacy of Verse, and the full verse is, "Though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. I have loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night." And it just speaks to me in ways beyond words. So I include it in a lot of my entries, especially that have to do with the darker aspects of life. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for being here. Bye.